and welcome. It's the 1st of October 2014, guys. And, I have to say, it's a shame to say this, but I think it is the case. I think this channel's failing. It's failing to project the set target, and that is to try and, open you up to a few things which are going on in this world right now. And not only to just make you aware of those things, it's to actually to get you to motivate yourselves to try to want to change them physically by getting involved in some form of way. It was an immense target to ever achieve, and I've had recently 3 examples of not being able to do so. And I was first shown on a wider picture that what I was doing was failing, and even on an individual note that I was failing. I just cannot help some people change, even for the right reasons. Even when shown good examples, you cannot change people. And this is frustrating, although I should have known probably why I couldn't do it when I discovered the universal equation and figured out that the universe was operating on a binary system. That code had been written already, and it was never going to deviate from it, and I should have known that. So what is set in time is going to happen, regardless of my efforts trying to change anybody's opinion on that and trying to sway people from what they are heading towards. It's been a very emotional journey for me, and personally a bigger failure, probably the biggest failure in my life, and at the same time very frustrating. To know some things that others don't know is a miracle in itself. What am I talking about? I'm talking about having the knowledge of something that could change everybody's life in the same way that the computer has changed everybody's way of life. It's the knowledge of knowing something, and if ever that something was to come out, it would change everybody's life and way of life from that point on. It's a very big thing. And I know it's not worth mentioning what I'm talking about. It's not worth showing you the results of experiments with regards to this, because it isn't going to change a thing. What we're seeing right now is a glimpse down a road, and there's no two ways about it. We are going down that road. It would take a miracle. Only this universe could stop it, and I can't see any reason for it wanting to do that, because it knows that is the best route for this civilization this time round to go down and experience yet again. I think it's yet again, because I feel that this has happened 4 times already. You've only got to look around at the behaviour of world leaders right now to know what I'm talking about is absolutely right. True, it is the truth. They are probably the worst people to be in positions of authority over thousands and thousands, and in some cases millions of others. They should never have been within the vicinity of the role which they're in right now. They're not the best people for the job. If we just take, for example, being we live in the West, David Cameron and Barack Obama, I just want to ask you what they have done for the better of either of their countrymen, either the citizens of the United States or the citizens of the United Kingdom. And nothing comes to mind. I can't figure out what they have done that has benefited my life or anyone else's life here in the UK. And I dare say people would say that in the United States. What one single policy have they changed that has improved everybody's life in those countries? And if they haven't, and nothing comes to mind, then why are they still in that job, having been in those jobs for a great deal of time? Now, you can think of many things on the other hand that they have done that has made your way of life worse, then, it should have been more so clear to you that these people should have been removed from the positions. I'm going to use the word belligerent, and I think if you look up that word, it is the correct word to use for these world leaders, these two individuals, because they are hell-bent on creating wars, and that is very negative. Nothing will come out of these wars that they are engaging in that will enhance our way of life. More to the point, it will make it a lot worse for us, because we are destroying countries right now as we speak. The United Kingdom is at war once again, and so is the United States. I said this before, they are unable to create. They are the child in the classroom that is very disruptive and only knows how to destroy something. It's the rest of us builders and creators that are the ones that probably would have been better in a role to lead and improve people's lives. But what has happened is completely the opposite. We have stuck the child in the classroom that keeps knocking everybody's towers over. And we're seeing their fruits of their works, their destructive behaviour, bombing other countries, destroying other people's ways of life, and not respecting other people's religions, whatever they may be. And that is why I say, when you look down this road, you know where it's heading. These world leaders accuse other world leaders of being dictators and remove these dictators, and then in the next moment they behave like dictators themselves. I know that on reviewing this, GCHQ will reduce the bandwidth of this video to restrict people seeing it. And the reason why they do that, specifically to my channel, I know they do it to other channels on YouTube, but the reason why they do it on my channel is because I'm credible. I'm not just an average Joe, and they know it, because I'm credible. What do I mean by that? When I tell people that I am a qualified scientist, people have a little understanding of what that means, and so does GCHQ. What that means is this, as most people would think when someone told them they was a qualified scientist, is that this person has a certain level of education and intelligence. And that is why GCHQ will narrow the bandwidth on this video. It's because people know I'm a qualified scientist, and that people are more likely to listen to a intelligent person with credentials. I want you to take a good hard look at these people that are world leaders, because they are not our friends, they are our enemies. And I'm going to repeat that because I want you to, if anything, remember this of this part of this video. They are not our friends, they are our enemies. They have deliberately kept a capitalist system going after it stagnated and passed its sell-by date, and it was their duty to ensure that the next system came in line at a point in time when one was about to expire on its sell-by date, and they failed to do that. And what they've chose to do is keep the system afloat. And if you look at any part of the capitalist system, the only way to keep it going is by keep reducing the outgoings, and that is what they've done. That is why here in the UK they are cutting back on the NHS and all the other public services, whilst allowing uncontrollably, I don't think that they can control it, the inflation. I think that is the knock-on effect that this having to keep reducing the price of services has on the system. And as a result of that, that is why borders and foreigners have been allowed to come into the countries now, so that there is an ample amount of people that are willing to take minimum wage and below minimum wage. And this has a detrimental knock-on effect and has to be sustained. But if you stand back and look at the way they are sustaining it with these people, eventually they will run out of the runt of the litter. That person who is the runt of the litter is the person that they can stitch up with, taking their time, their precious time and their labour, and giving them pretty much nothing back for it. That is why, in the United States and in the United Kingdom, people would rather not work anymore than as opposed to accept the minimum. And it is a shame that those that have no choice, physically have no choice because of the reliance of people upon them, they have to take that job at that rate. When you cannot no longer sustain a living in a position of work, then you are worser off than a slave. Because if you look up the terminology in any dictionary, it will explain how a slave lives and what it gets in return, and that is a roof over its head and food. It is the bare minimums that sustain life. Who on this world values themselves as the bare minimum? That is a shame, because you will find that what this government have done is turn their back on the poorest within their societies. And as Jack Fresco said himself, this is the same as every organism in your body going out for itself, because for sure within hours, if not days, that body will wither away because of that. And it is the same for, if we upscale this on a fractal pattern, it is the same for societies and countries and nations. No different. it is a pity that they never chose to include everybody in this progression of experiences that could be had on this planet. But what they have done is clear. It is help themselves. We've seen this. I've witnessed this. I've went to the extremes of spotting something in a particular group of people and then joining that group of people to find out how they do it. I'm talking about Freemasonry. Most of you know I joined Freemasonry because I studied a bit of our history, and everyone that was at an influential level, for some reason or not, was a Freemason. So I had to investigate what Freemasonry was about, and I wasn't surprised when I found out something about Freemasonry, which I'll share with you guys. There is a flaw in their system, and I doubt whether many Freemasons have spotted this themselves. And it is the working tools of Freemasonry and what they represent, certain conducts of life, and I'm talking about the level, because it represents equality. And after one evening of an advancement in Masonic knowledge, I was treated to this advancement in Masonic knowledge, and what that was the terminology of a Cowan. And a Cowan is a person that is a non-Mason, and this was how it was explained to me. If you needed some carpentry doing, let's say, and the person who lived next door to you was a carpenter, and at the same time a Freemason lived over the other side of the town, that was a Freemason, and you knew he was going to charge more than your neighbour who was conveniently closer to you to use, you should use the Freemason. It's almost the same description as what the Jews used the terminology of a goyim, which is anyone that is a non-Jew is cattle. And I believe there are even worse forms of names for them, like schlitzers, is it, where it is a dirty animal. To describe another human being as either a goyim, a schlitzer, or a Cowan, in my view, is not an advancement in any knowledge whatsoever. And that was the cue for me to leave Freemasonry, because I'd found out something which I'd already come across in life, and I knew that there was nothing special there to be had. Now I wonder how many other Freemasons have questioned the logic of the terminology Cowan, and I wonder how many Freemasons have acted upon that. You see, it's that same thing again. When you know something's wrong, you don't do it anyhow. Understanding logic is having the ability not just to understand logic, but you must carry it out to the best of your abilities as a human being. What David Cameron is doing right now is wrong, and he knows it's wrong, and it shows his level of evolvement as a human being, and it is for that reason that he should not be in any power situation whatsoever. He should not be in control of any armed forces. He shouldn't be in control of any policy making, because he lacks the ability to act on the first rung of this ladder on logical reasoning, knowing right from wrong and acting upon that accordingly. And if we amplify the amount of these world leaders with the same mentality and lack of understanding of logic, then we know where this is all heading, don't we? And you can see why I would want to stop this in its tracks and do something to try and change it. And yes, as foolishly as that might be, to not realise your own limitations, as I have failed to do so here, because it is obvious I have tried to change this course, I still have failed, regardless. And I've been pointing it out to you guys in numerous videos. I've been saying the level of consciousness and the willing to act, even to the point where you thumb up the video or you thumb it down, or you choose to take a little bit more of your time to write a comment, shows the level of your willingness to participate in this important topic. This is humanity right now, and on many facets, we will see the same levels of involvement. People do not see, as they drive down the road, the people withering away because they have been left out of society. But that car is their bubble, and they're protected. They're on the way to their work, which they will receive their wages at the end of the month, and it will pay for what they want, and so long as they've got that job to go to and that they are maintaining their bills, they are all right, and that is a selfish act. The only way a body can thrive is if all its organisms are healthy and work with each other. That is the only way a society can work and prosper. But as long as these people remain in their positions, and these are the wrong people for those positions, and you must recognise that these people are the wrong people for these positions, because they do not bring any fruits that are, anything but sour to this table. They should go, because we should not be willing to accept it, because they are destroying society before our very eyes. We are in decline here in the UK, and you can see by the level of services that are deteriorating. There is no homes for the homeless. There are food banks for those that do not earn enough money to maintain a level of living in this today's society, as well as all other public services suffering. These are the very things that serve you. You want someone to be there. If your house is on fire and one of your members are trapped in there, you need, a well-maintained fire service. They are under attack right now. If ever you're taken ill, you want someone to look after your family members or yourself in the best possible way. They won't be able to achieve that if they keep closing local hospitals, A&Es within boroughs of England and Wales and Scotland and Ireland, as well as everywhere else on the world that we are noticing this decaying take place. They would rather fire a cruise missile at the cost of nearly £1 million into a desertous region, killing 3 or 4 people, when that same amount of money could keep 3 doctors in a hospital for a year, probably 2 nurses as well, probably a fireman, or even provide housing for 4 or 5 people or more. Or families, should I say, at that rate. I dare say £1 million would buy 10 houses, and that would house 10 families. That could even be 50 people. This is what I'm talking about, guys. It's no longer, a nice sight down that road. The closer I come down that road, I see what's there. And I tell you now, these psychopaths are going to lead us into a war pretty soon, and it's going to involve many countries, and it's going to be classed as a third world war. And there is going to be more of what we have seen take place in the Ukraine and in Iraq and in Gaza and everywhere else in this Middle Eastern region. As this erupts, it will draw us all in, and they are all for that. You got to ask the question, why? Can we do something about it? I think it's written, guys. I think this universe does, well, we've proved that this universe is operating on a binary system. We know it's conscious. We know it's intelligent. I'll leave you to answer that question. But we shouldn't be satisfied with this rubbish running our countries the way they are, and we should do something about it. David Cameron needs to be made forced to resign, and everyone else that comes along in replacement of him that acts in the exact same manner should be forced to resign. This is gotta come, guys. We've got to do this. We've got to end this crap that is taking place. It is no longer any benefit to anyone to leave these people in doing a lousy job like these people are. I'm not going to apologise for the length of time I've taken to do this video. You know, if you think I'm arrogant and, you know, narcissistic, that's entirely your opinion. You know, I'm trying to point out something to you guys. I'm trying to help you see something. It's up to you whether you want to act on that. You know, only you can motivate yourself. As always, be prepared and be safe, and bye for now.